Hello, this is Sarah with Posh Pooch Designs, and today's video I'm going to show you how to make this fun little football coaster. Now today we're going to be making it out of worsted weight yarn, but you can also make it out of cotton if you prefer. This is a free pattern on my blog, and I'll put that in the comments for you so that you will have them. It just takes a small amount of some sort of brown. We're using a little bit lighter brown than I normally do because I think it shows it better on the video. This is worsted weight 4. You're going to need a little bit of white for the trim here and for the stitching. We're going to be working with our H hook today, and of course, some of you who've watched some of my videos, this is my favorite purple H hook. You're going to need a needle to weave in your ends and to do the stitching, and of course your trusty pair of scissors. So let's go ahead and get started. You're going to find this is super easy and super fun to whip up a bunch of them. Alright, let's put our white yarn over there because we don't need it just quite yet. We're going to begin with the center portion, and then we'll work to this edge here, and then we'll work to the outside. The first thing that you're going to need to do is chain 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now you're going to be putting 9 double crochets in the 4th chain from the hook, and those first 3 chains will count as your first double crochet. So we're going to put 9 more, and just in case you don't know what a double crochet is, yarn over, go in that loop you're working, pull a loop through. You have 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, go through the first 2, yarn over, go through the second 2. And we're going to be making 9 of those plus the chain 3 at the beginning for a total of 10 double crochets. And we're working all of these in the 4th chain from the hook. And we're doing it this particular way because we want a nice flat center so that our cup doesn't spill, or our glass doesn't spill, or our can doesn't spill. All right, let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So we have 10 on our project in the 4th chain from the hook. Now we're going to join to the top of that chain 3 with a slip stitch. And in case you don't know what that is, you put your hook through, pull a loop through there, and then pull that loop through that top of that last stitch, snug it down a little bit, and chain 3. And our chain 3 counts as our first double crochet on our 2nd row. And now we're going to put 1 double crochet in that same stitch as that chain 3, and then we're going to put 2 double crochets in each double crochet around. There we go. And this will give us a nice flat surface. And like I said, you can use a cotton yarn if you prefer. Part of the reason I chose to go ahead and use the worsted weight is I did not find a brown cotton yarn that I thought worked good for the football. But of course, I'm sure there is one out there. The cotton works great because it does absorb if your cup or glass sweats. But the worsted weight is great also, especially if you're going to use these for decorations. These are great to set around, and because it has this little lip on the edge, you can put some candies in there if you want to. And then if you're having a football party, send one of these home with each one of your guests. And you could always add a trim of another color. For instance, if you're a Broncos fan like we are, you could put a trim of orange or blue and around the edge, or even add a little pom-pom or something. So, and they'd be great to string up for like a banner across the room, you know, to string a string up. They're just a great little project. Okay, so we've got our 20 stitches. We're going to slip stitch, chain 3, 1 double crochet in the top, same stitch as your chain 3. Mine's puckering a little, isn't it? But it'll flatten out. All right, now we're going to put 2 double crochets in each double crochet around again, and this will give us a total of 40 stitches. crochets in each stitch around for a total of 40 double crochets. And now we're going to chain 3. Whoops. 1, 2, 3. And now we're going to be working in the front loops only. And so if you look real close, you can see there's front loops on this row and there are back loops. And for this row, we're going to be working in the front loops. The front loops are the loops that are always facing you. The back loops are the loops that are facing away. So we're going to be putting 1 double crochet in each of the front loops. And this is going to give us the ridge that we have that keeps our can or our bottle, that's right here, from sliding off our coaster. Now you do not have to do this if you don't want to. If you want your coaster to just be flat, you can skip this row. So I'm going to show you how to do that. We're going to double crochet in the front loop. See how I'm only going through that front loop? And we're going to double crochet just like that. Through the front loop, 1 double crochet in each double crochet all the way around, working in the front loops only. Double crocheted in the front loop all the way around. We're going to join to the top of that chain 3 we started with a slip stitch. And now we're going to chain 3. 1, 2, 3. And what this does is this helps us move back down, because in this next row we're going to be working in the back loops. So what I want you to do is join to that back loop with a slip stitch, and we're ready to go. Now we're going to be stitching these sides of our football. And this is a really easy pattern. This is the hardest part. It's not hard. You just make sure you don't get your stitches off. I'm going to follow my notes real close so I make sure you tell you exactly right. So we're working in those back loops of R3, and we're going to start with putting 1 single crochet in the first 2 stitches. So it's 1, 2 single crochets. Then we're going to put 2 half double crochets, 1 in the next 2 stitches. Just in case you don't know what a half double crochet is, yarn over, go through that loop, pull a loop through, and go through all 3, just like that. And then the next 2, is it next 2 or 3? Let me take a peek. The next 2, we're going to do double crochets. So we're going to put a double crochet, and then a double crochet in the next one. And then this next stitch, we're going to be putting 3 double crochets in the same stitch. And this is the point of our football. So we're going to do 1, 2, oops, there we go, 3. And now we're going to work back down. So we're going to do what we did here in reverse. So we're going to put a double crochet in the next 2. Then we're going to put a half double crochet in the next 2. 1, 2, and then we're going to put a single crochet in the next 2. So there's 1 and 2, and you can see the shape of our football. So it has an arch. Okay, so now we're going to move around this way, and we're going to need to put a slip stitch in the next 7 stitches to get us over here. So we go in the first one, we do 1, 2, 3, 4, oops, get in there, 5, 6, let me make sure I counted those right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, all right, that one was a slip stitch. All right, now we're going to do the same thing we did here on this side. So we're going to put a single crochet in the next 2. We're going to put a half double crochet in the next 2. Pull out a little more yarn here. Then we're going to put a double crochet, oops, there we go, in the next 2. 1. Oh, I did a half. There we go. And then we're going to put 3 double crochets for our point. So we got 1, 2, 3. And now we're just going to go in reverse like we did. We're going to put 1 double crochet in the next 2, half double crochet in the next 2, and then a slip stitch. 1, 2, and then we're gonna, not a slip stitch, single crochet, sorry. 2 doubles, 2 halves, 2 singles. Now we're gonna put slip stitch on these next 7 stitches to reach back over to here. That way we've got a nice solid base around our edge. Now if you want to add another edge for your school colors, your favorite team colors, you can certainly do that. Just go around the whole edge with a slip stitch or even a single crochet, whatever you want to do. There we go. And now we're going to join. Make sure, here's the chain where we came down for this row. If you did this row, make sure you slip stitch across that to the first single crochet, and that will help that stay in place as well. So now we have our football shape. Let's go ahead and cut that. We'll tie that off. And you need to use your needle. I keep dropping it. And make sure you sew that in nice and tight, because if you're like me, it's going to go through the wash a couple times. And what I do is I just go through all those layers of yarn on the back, and I kind of loop back and make sure you go through stitches, not holes. And that will help it stay nice and snug. And I kind of pull it just a little and snip. And that's going to help that stay put. Now we have our football shape. You know, when I first made this, someone said, oh, that's a deflated football because it has the hole. But that's to keep our drink from sliding out. And I'll show you about that in just a second. So the last thing we need to do is just thread a good amount of white yarn onto your needle. There we go. And what we're going to do is we're just going to make some straight stitches across here. And I come up where I began my single crochets around the edge. And I'm just going to hold that down. And then I'm going to sew like up and down. And I don't pull it too snug because I want them to show. So I'm going to leave them kind of up just a little, not a lot. And you're just making straight stitches, looping back over. Just so it looks like, you know, the edge of that football a little bit. It gets a little white color in there. And then I go under here, kind of fold that back, and I'm going to go at the stitches at the base of this row, row 3, and I'm going to make my straight stitch, just eyeballing it up, and then I'm going to come up just like that, down the center. And what I do is I'll go just a small way, and then I'll go sideways, and make sure when you're putting on your stitches that you go through a stitch and not a hole, because it will pull and you'll lose that the look of the stitching in a hole. And this also, you don't want to pull it really tight. Got through there by accident. You just want it to look good and even, but you don't want to pull it too tight because you could lose it in those stitches. And so I just go back and forth trying to grab a stitch. And I don't have a set number of how many I do across. I just kind of eyeball it, and if I want it to have more, I'll add more. There we go. Get in there. There we go. And you can see we're just making little stitches across. And this is just mostly eyeballed. It's not measured. If you're the type of person who needs to measure everything, go for it. Go ahead and measure. I mean, that's totally fine. When we get to that end, I'm going to make sure we go across. I want to add one more stripe in there. There's too much space, and that's what you can do. I got my stripe in there. Get down in there. And it looks like it needs another stripe in there, so I'll just go back here. Sure, I catch a stitch. See, just add another stripe in. Then turn it over and weave in those ends. There we go. Get that off. That one's all weaved in when we stitched it. And there you go. There is your football coasters. And these are perfect for a coffee cup. They're perfect for a can of soda or beer or something. And also, if you're having a fancy party, they're perfect for a glass of wine. So, whatever kind of party that you're having, if it's a football party, these are perfect little footballs. They're great for decorating and whatever you want. Well, thanks for watching my video. And make a bunch and have a great football season. Thank you.